Part 19. Okay, guys, we are. Ooh, let's try again. Part 19. We are going to wrap it up in this one. I don't promise, but I hope. Let's get right into it. I moved to California. I was living with my dad. Now, mind you, most of my family is in California, was in California. My dad, my grandmother who lived together, my sister, my aunts, a handful of cousins, and even some friends. So I got out to California April 2016. And I was trying to rest in California. Mind you, while I was out there, it wasn't a lot of communication that I remember between me and my husband at the time. I think ever so often he would call our son to talk to our son, but there wasn't a lot of communication between us, which was fine. And my daughter was born in July 16th. And I went into, do the math because I can't remember doing the math. I went to the hospital like 199 days before my daughter was born. I went in for a regular routine checkup with the doctor, and they told me that I was dilating. Now, mind you, at this time, I think I was around the same amount of weeks that I was with my son, who was born prematurely. My son was born at 27 weeks, and I believe at 27 or 28 weeks, when I went to the doctor's appointment, they told me that I was dilating. So I'm like, okay, here we go again. They put me in the hospital, admitted me, and I was there for 99 or 100 days, one of those things. So I was on complete bed rest. Now, before I was on bed rest, I was going to church in Walnut Creek. Excuse me. I was going to church in Walnut Creek. Amazing church. I'm really glad I went there. I had a lot of support there. They knew my story. They knew the situation that was going on, and they were really supportive and really loving. At some point, they kind of encouraged me to mend the relationship, to mend my marriage. And I started kind of going down that track of, God doesn't want divorce. God can heal. God can deliver, whatever. And I remember really, really, really meditating on the scripture. Hold on, let me look it up. Let me get the reference for you. Okay, it's John 11:39, where Jesus came and Lazarus was dead in the tomb, like dead. And Martha, she was telling Jesus, like, yeah, okay, you can raise him from the dead. You can raise people from the dead, but Lazarus been dead. Like, Lazarus is dead. Like, he's been dead for days. And the scripture says, it stinketh, Lord. And I held on to that scripture because my marriage was dead. It wasn't just dead. It was dead. Like, it's been dead, is dead. Like, it stinketh, Lord. My marriage stinketh. Like, it was that gone. It was that dead. And so I used that scripture and I held on to that scripture because Jesus said, didn't I tell you, if you believe, you will see the glory of God? And so, yes, my marriage was dead. Yes, it was gone. It was too far gone. But I believe, and so I'm grateful for that moment because it built my trust in Jesus. It built my trust in God, that I fully believe that God could resurrect and heal anything, regardless of how dead it looked and how nasty and disgusting my marriage was. I believed with my whole heart that God could still raise it from the dead. And so I was going through that journey and we began talking a little bit more, and he was like more on the fence of maybe this can work out, maybe it can't. And I felt like I was constantly being tested, constantly being evaluated of, have I changed? Am I good enough? So now, mind you, before I moved out to California, we had a conversation outside, and I was kind of asking him, like, how does this girl think you're so amazing? And you're treating her so well, all this other stuff. And he literally told me, you're not worth it. Like, that is the reason why he's not treating me so well. He's not, you know, whatever, because I wasn't worth it to him. And that really, really, really tore me apart. And that's why I still remember it to this day, because it really like took me to another level of low because of those words, that I wasn't worth it. So anyway, I'm in California, you know, trying to lean on the Lord and believing that he's going to heal our marriage. And I remember praying, praying, praying all the time, all the time, all the time. And I prayed, God, if it is your will, please, 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 please reconcile this marriage. And God told me clearly, clear as day, it's not. That's what he told me. It's not. It's not my will. And I remember thinking, it's not God's perfect will. It was never God's will. It was never God's perfect will for us to get married. It was his permissible will. And I remember praying, God, I want your perfect will. I want your perfect will. If you're telling me this is not in your will to reconcile the marriage, I would rather have your will, your perfect will, than continue to operate in permissible. God gives us the choice. God gives us, you know, the freedom to make our own decisions. And that's what happened with our marriage. I made my own decision to marry this man. It wasn't God's perfect will, because I always used to fight with it, like, God, how could you let me be in this marriage? Why would you give me a husband like this? And God's like, I didn't. Like, I didn't give you this man. Like, I did not do this. This is not me. And once I heard that from God, and I made the decision that I would rather have his perfect will than operate in his permissible will, I started to let go. As much as in that time I was fighting, when I heard God say that it wasn't his perfect will, and I made that decision that I wanted his perfect will over what, you know, anything else, I started to gradually let go. My daughter was born, and, you know, my mom was sick with cancer. She ended up coming out to visit me, but then when she found out the cancer had progressed, she moved back to Georgia. And I decided to move back maybe a few weeks after my daughter was born, so my mom wouldn't be alone. And once I got back to Georgia, I moved back into the home. He was still living at the home that was ours. And I went to, because I didn't have any money. I didn't have a real job at the time. He wasn't providing for me or the children anymore. And it was a real struggle, even just like the things of, you know, I need food for the kids or whatever. Like, I didn't have a car. He would not drive us. He would not take us. I remember while my son was in school, I would walk to the store with our newborn. Speaking of, after some time, maybe a few months, he was still questioning if the child was his. So he wasn't at the birth. He didn't help name my daughter. He didn't do anything. He didn't touch her. He didn't do anything until he demanded a DNA test. We went to go get the DNA test. The test came back that the child was his. And the day that he found out the child was his, that's when he held her for the first time. Months after she was born. He had no parts in anything related to her until he found out that she was his. So anywho, I walked to the store by myself with the stroller, you know, put the food in the basket. Family members were sending me money to purchase food, etc. So it was a really, really hard time. I ended up getting a job at a grocery store, Kroger. If you know Kroger, if you know, you know. I ended up working there for a little while, and so that gave me a little bit money for food and stuff. And then I I ended up going to, let's see, the end of 2016. I was able to purchase my first car, my first brand new car. He was shocked by that, because I was able to get some independence with having my own vehicle and having a job at the time. I also went to workshops at the library for how to fill out divorce paperwork and that whole process. So that was free. I started that, but then I realized it's going to cost money, because I need a lawyer, right? Because he was not agreeing with anything that I wanted. He wanted full custody of the children, full physical and full legal custody of our children. He started to paint the picture that I was an unfit mother. And so I was like, okay, I need a lawyer. Like, this is not just going to be simple ABC, we're divorced. Like, he was fighting me on everything. And so I needed money. So that's when I decided that I wasn't going to file. I was going to allow him to file. I remember him telling me, like, hey, I'm going to proceed with this divorce. I made my decision. I don't want to be with you anymore. I was okay. Like, I was okay with it. Like, I said, okay, file the paperwork, because I'm not filing it because it costs money. Go ahead and file the paperwork. And so once the paperwork was filed, which I believe was October 2016. Yes, October 2016, I believe, is when the paperwork was filed. And he still stayed in the house. So I was still living with him while we were going through the process of a divorce. Now, mind you, God showed me a lot of things while I was in that house. He prepared me for this new relationship that he was in. He was in a new full-fledged relationship. Now, keep note that with narcissists, they have to be in a relationship. It brings them validation. It gives them someone new to control. It makes them feel good. They cannot be alone. So he went from this one girl that he was in a relationship with. They broke up. I moved to California. And then when I got back, he was in a different relationship with who he's married to now. So I found out she was picking up my kid from the school bus. She was like fully involved, like full on flat relationship during the process before, I believe, the divorce was even filed, and then throughout the duration of our relationship. And I already knew the stuff that he was telling her because of what he told the previous girl to make me look like this horrible person. And that's fine. I was whatever with it. So yeah, we ended up, it was a nasty process. But we ended up getting a divorce. September 2017 is when it was finalized. And we'll get into that a little bit more in the next series. But wow, who the fuck did I marry? Like, it's crazy, y'all. Like, it is crazy. And I'm sure I am missing a lot. Like, I didn't even tell you guys about the time that we went to a marriage retreat and we renewed our vows at this marriage retreat. And that time, that when we renewed our vows, was during the same time that he was sleeping with men before and after our renewal. Like, it was our renewal vows. It was so weird. Like, how could you stand up here in front of all these people and say these vows that you like, blah, 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 and then go right back to soliciting sex online? Like, it's just so weird. I know there's so much more that I haven't even said because I just don't remember about all this stuff. But when I do remember, I'll let y'all know. Obviously, somebody's watching these videos and really upset about it, and they have been reporting my videos, but that's okay. The word is going to get out. The story's going to get out. The truth is going to get out. And I really, really hope that this series has helped somebody tell their truth and tell their story too, for freedom and for liberty. So thank you guys so much for all the support, all the love. Stay tuned for the new series that is going to come out, called I Divorced a Narcissist. Thank you for your support. Like, share, so somebody else could feel safe and feel inspired to tell their story and to no longer be silent about the things that they've been through and experienced. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to those who are going through something similar, know that there is a rainbow on the other side. Just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Do whatever you need to do. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.